What a wonderful morning. I think I'm gonna go ahead and kick back and just relax today.
You can't just sit around doing nothing. You waste precious time that could have been used productively.
Alright, fine. I'll relax by reading something that I could make a video on or something.
But that popular TV show ended recently. You need to finish it before people lose interest in videos discussing the ending.
I never actually got that invested in that show, so I'm not exactly in a hurry to finish it.
But if you don't, who knows what opportunities you might miss? Oh God! Now a really divisive movie is out too.
Look, I'm already reading something. Let me just focus on one task at a time, okay?
Yeah, but what if...
Okay, you know what? What if I just didn't read anything? What if I just didn't even make a video? What you think about that?
The Long Walk, everybody!
Well, it wasn't his first book to be published. The Long Walk was the first book that Stephen King began writing, under his pen name of Richard Bachman. The story takes place in the near future, a dystopian future where America is led by a mysterious cult-like leader, only known as the Mayor. Well, the near future by late 70s standards, which feels pretty apparent when the fairly young cast are still making references to people like J.D. Salinger, bodybuilder Charles Atlas, jazz musician Cannonball Adderley, as well as John Travolta, who played a character in the movie adaptation of Carrie, just a few years before The Long Walk was published. It would make more sense to call it an alternative timeline when reading it today. Now, imagine that each year, 100 boys are chosen to go on a march across the country. You arrive as one of these chosen few, get a little pep talk from the mayor, and start walking. If your pace drops below 4 miles per hour, you receive a warning. And if you get more than 3, you'll be shot in the street by a number of soldiers that are overseeing your progress. If you can keep walking at a good pace for an hour though, one of your warnings will be taken away. We are dropped into the shoes of Ray Garrity, a boy who serves as our perspective character throughout the story. As we get to spend all this time in his head, we get plenty of introspection, thinking about how no one would want to be the first one to die, realizing after walking so long how good the onlookers must have it, as so many of them are sitting down, perhaps even eating nice food as part of a picnic. Simple things they probably take for granted as they're not burdened with leg muscles screaming out in agony. We get to share Garrity's memories of friends, family and loved ones, times of clarity, times of unhinged delirium. It doesn't take long for some who respected the mayor to hate him, but more than anything for Garrity, what sinks in first is just plain apathy. When you're walking and hoping to stay alive, feeling your feet hurting and your body becoming exhausted, other things just kinda start to matter less, even the sight of death. One might call this a more psychological and drama-focused battle royale, where none of the competitors are actively trying to kill each other. In fact, there's a rule in place that strictly forbids interfering with other walkers. Yet much like Battle Royale, it's a story that grips your morbid curiosity, as you wonder who will die next and what exactly ends up being each person's downfall. A bad choice of shoes, sleep deprivation, or just plain absent-mindedness. The list goes on. The book manages to drill in that paranoia, making you feel that imaginary bullet with your name on it, tracing its course through the air until popping your skull open for the world to see. Because we spend a lot of time in Garrity's headspace during his walk, whenever his train of thought digs further into certain subjects, you start to fear that he might be becoming delirious to the point of slowing down. You almost expect to hear one of the soldiers giving a warning at any moment. You might get the sense that you'll get a warning if you ever slow down your reading. It's raw, it's ugly, it's incredibly human. Everyone, including our main character, has their moment of weakness, though we also get to see some friendships forming along the roads, mainly with a guy named McReese, sharing some of those happy and caring moments together, the ones that life is all about. As many stories of its kind where many young people are dying as part of a sport, it also adds a smidge of commentary on our willingness to treat this as entertainment. Each chapter even begins with a quote that more often than not is game show related. And I'm sitting here reading the damn thing, so hey, I'm probably no better. Something that sets The Long Walk apart from other stories with similar messages, however, is that the participants volunteered for this. They aren't here against their will. Well, initially at least. The threat of death has a way of changing people's minds that way. Oh, what a surprise. Back to my previous point of this being viewed as entertainment. Garrity has his moments of hating the people looking at their walk, especially those who are just sitting and eating with their families with no apparent care in the world. Yet McReese points out that they all signed up for this. They're the idiots. The audience might be barbaric for watching, yet are they any better since they've decided to put themselves on display like this? Just a fair warning that both viewers and creators equally ought to be careful of what they're watching or producing, I guess. While The Long Walk consists of people who joined of their own volition, few actually seem to even know why they're doing it. To challenge themselves, because they're after the grand prize at the end, is rarely brought up, for better and for worse. I was hoping to see a bit more exploration of varying motivations among these boys. Yet, while it doesn't tell us much about why they decided to join this march, it does explore the question of why they continue to walk. Do we go on for the sake of our loved ones? For the sake of beating some rival? In a way, it's kinda like asking why any of us get up in the morning and do what we do. Why are some simple tasks so arduous, when other tasks that should be far more draining make us feel accomplished and barely tired at all?
Well, feeling like you're being forced to do something is certainly one big factor.
The sinking feeling you might end up with is that the reasons for why they're taking this long walk doesn't matter. Not in the grand scheme of things, because there are no good reasons to join what amounts to a suicide march, to put that kind of pressure on yourself to accomplish something so simple. That's the moral of this story.
Or is it?
If you got any thoughts on that, let me know in the comments, why don't ya? Now, Stephen King is notorious for being rather hit and miss with his endings, so I do feel a bit of an obligation to at least mention the ending. The Long Walk ends with what I consider a bit of a whimper. Some moments that have been built up to felt like they didn't get their due focus, yet at the same time this is a story where the greatest villain is fatigue, both physical and mental. So, in a sense, this is a rare case where such an ending actually works in its favor, feeling rather fitting. So, yeah, that's my first ever review video.
I finished it.
Now, will you leave me alone?
What? No, we will always be here. Always watching, always waiting.
Oh joy. Well, I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, intelligence is sexy, so be the sexy you. Read a book.